Step into the freedom of summer with jewelry that reflects who you are and where you're going. From sunrise to sunset, Pandora jewelry transports you to paradise. No passport required. Think of things like ocean charms, colorful tennis bracelets. You can shop all of these new arrivals to add to your summer staples. Be unmissable and vacation ready. Feel it, live it, embrace it, be love. Shop in-store or online at pandora.net to discover new styles. I am so excited to see so many people talking about perimenopause and menopause, but honestly, it is a long time coming and way past due. For literally hundreds of years, society hasn't wanted to talk about menopause, and when they do, they make it sound terrible. So Walgreens is helping women change the perception and take back our narrative, because nothing is sexier than being in control. Let's reframe menopause together. Join the hashtag #MenopauseIsHot conversation and help reframe menopause. We go to therapy to deal with all the people in our lives who will not go to therapy. This is one of those situations. This is the work that you have to do on yourself so that this doesn't bother you. Because as long as it bothers you, it will continue to happen. You didn't do anything wrong here. I think this happens a lot of time in like romantic relationships, breakups, divorce, where you're still in the same circles or you're interacting in the same groups. And it's like that person is hurt and they want everybody else to think that you're the bad guy because they want to project those things onto you so that people aren't looking at them. That's her journey. That is not yours to figure out. That is not yours to unpack. That is in the past. You are here in this present moment. All of your power is here in this present moment and what you decide to do with your power and your energy in this present moment. How can we make good decisions to go on from here and let her do whatever she's going to do? Hey guys, it's Rach. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. And I have a favor, which sounds kind of harsh if we just met, but I'm assuming that most of you have been a part of this community for a hot minute. And so I gotta ask, are you subscribed to the podcast? Subscribing to the podcast you listen to regularly is one of the best things that you can do for hosts like me. It helps to support the show and the staff that works on it. It ensures that you never miss an episode when we drop a new one. And here's the cool thing about subscribing. If you do it and then you hate this show, just unsubscribe. It's one click away. In the meantime, if you're listening, we would so appreciate it if you would just tap that button and make it official. Hi guys, it's Rach. Welcome to another episode of the podcast and a new edition in the Ask Rach series. If you've never listened to one of these episodes before, this is where y'all call in, you ask questions, producer Jack compiles all of your questions into a sheet, and then I sit down and I answer those questions. When I hear the question for the first time is also when you're hearing it for the first time, meaning my answers are just off the cuff, instinctual, what I would say to you if we were having coffee. I like to mention that because if I give any advice that you think is stupid, just ignore it. Like, absolutely take whatever is helpful, ignore the rest. We are going to jump in with our very first question here today. Let's see what this is all about.
Hi, Rach. I would love to hear more about life after your kids leave the nest, empty nest. My boys, men, are now on their own, and I am feeling a little lost, even though I'm an entrepreneur and they are very much in my life, and my life is full in some ways. It still feels empty in others. And I would just like to find ways to maybe find out who I am now, more than just a mom. who I am as a person at this time in my life? I would love for your wisdom and your advice on this. Thank you.
That's a really good question. And I think before we get into ideas about how you can feel better inside of the season that we're in, I think you have to acknowledge that something big has changed. I mean, you spent the bulk of your life raising these kids. And if you're like most moms I know, you did that with your whole heart and every ounce of your energy. You poured your life, literally your life force, into making sure they were okay and raising them to be the great men that they have become. That is so much energy in one direction that now is not happening. So an interesting thing happens when a big part of life is taken away. I think looking in from the outside, it would be easy to expect that now that you have this sort of vacant space, that you actually have more energy, right? Most people would go, oh, well, you're not raising kids, you're not doing school drop off, you're not doing those things. So you actually should have more energy because you're more relaxed and you have more space and more free time. But what it sounds like to me is that you really enjoyed that season of being a mom in the same way that someone might really enjoy when they were a long distance runner, or someone might really enjoy when they were building their company from the ground up. And then all of a sudden, when that is removed, there's no energy going anywhere. And so no energy is being generated. Okay, so this is what I want you guys to think about. Have you ever heard that expression? A power plant doesn't have energy. A power plant makes energy. A power plant is actively doing something every single day that is generating energy that it then gives out to the world. The same can be said for parents. The same could be said for mamas, right? You're actively doing something every single day and then pouring out that energy on these kids. And the beautiful thing about that experience is because they're your babies and because they're awesome, you're also getting great things back. You're getting love, you're getting respect, you're getting giggles, you're getting hugs, you're getting friendship, you're getting community, all of these amazing things that come when you are inside and part of a family. And now, as much as they are still your kids and still in your life, it's not the same. They have their own life, they're doing their own thing, you're not seeing them every day. So what I wonder is if you've lost a reason to generate energy in the way that you used to. Totally normal, but worth acknowledging. And then worth asking yourself, what can I recreate in my life now for this new season, for this new chapter, for the woman I am becoming? Not the woman I was, the woman I'm becoming. What can I generate for myself so that I've got a place to pour out my creativity, my love, my joy, my responsibility, whatever it is. I don't like to say like replace what it was, because you're never going to replace motherhood. You're never going to replace raising your kids. But you can certainly find ways to use the skills that you have that will give you some new energy again. Whether it looks like volunteering, finding a cause that you really believe in, finding something that you really love that you can pour energy into. Or you said you're an entrepreneur. What would it look like if this season you decide that you're going to double your business? Literally double your business. You're going to take better care of your customers. You're going to be unreasonable in your hospitality. You're going to help people. You're going to do more. You're going to have more impact. Not because you need more money, not because like any other reason than you want just more. You want more out of life. You want more conversations, more people, more community, more feedback, more whatever. What if you put it into your business? What if you put it into your church or your synagogue or your mosque? Like, what if you get more involved with your faith? What if you go on a spiritual journey? What if you take up yoga? What if you decide to run a marathon? I have a chapter in the latest book that talks about passion and purpose. And I think so many people want passion and want purpose and don't know how to go about it. And then we see all of these different ideas and these graphics on Instagram and stuff on Pinterest and quote cards, and we get all of these thoughts on what is going to give us purpose or what is going to give passion to our life. The quickest way I know of to find something you are passionate about is to try a bunch of stuff. Try anything, try everything. Y'all, I got rollerblades last week. I bought some rollerblades. I did. I have photographic evidence, Jack. I will show you. I got video footage. Yeah, we'll put it into a reel. We will show people. Why did I get rollerblades? Because when I was a little girl, I loved rollerblading. I loved it. I had so much fun. And I always think about it. I think about rollerblading, but I don't want to get them because I'm 42. And about a year ago, I had this brilliant idea. I asked my 12-year-old son, I was like, Ford, if I get rollerblades, would you want to get rollerblades? And then we're like rollerblading buddies. And he was like, not really. I'm not really into rollerblading. I don't know how. And I was like, kids are lame. I asked my husband, I'm like, hey, you want to get rollerblades? I'm going to go get, and he was like, that's not really my thing. So I was like, well, dang it. So that was a year ago. I don't do anything. And then couple weeks ago, I'm sitting in a doctor's appointment for the same 12-year-old who didn't want to rollerblade with me. And we had to be there for a while. I'm waiting in the waiting room and he's working on schoolwork and I'm bored. And all of a sudden it hits me, rollerblades. I don't know why. Maybe because I was doing one of the most boring things you can do as a parent, which is like sitting in a doctor's office for 19 hours. But I decide then and there in the doctor's waiting room, I'm getting rollerblades. So I approach this in a smart way. I go over to YouTube. I find people who are rollerbladers on YouTube because I'm like, I don't know what to buy. You know, my rollerblades when I were little were like, I don't know, from Walmart. Like, I don't know where I get rollerblades. Go watch a YouTube video. Find like, okay, this is the safest one. This is the one that's right for me. I find the thing. I go find it online. Bing, bang, boom. 10 minutes later, proud owner of rollerblades. I did get wrist guards, like the wrist guards, Jack, because I was like, these are the money makers. I mean, I'm a writer. I need these for living. So I had to get some wrist guards. I didn't wear that kind of stuff when I was little because I was trying to be cool. But now, safety first. They arrived the other day. I can't think of a time I've been that excited in my life. I for sure thought that rollerblading was like riding a bike, meaning that like I'd get right back on. No problemo. Mucho problemo. Okay. I do not have the balance I once had. I didn't know what to do. I forgot how to bend my knees. It's like when people go ice skating and it's just really bad. But I was so happy, you guys. I just went in my driveway just over and over, back and forth and back and forth. And Kez sat on the front step and just videotaped me like a proud papa and was terrified that I was going to fall. I was like, are you sure you don't want to wear a helmet? And I was like, I'm not wearing a helmet. So I'm a rollerblader now, okay? I'm not great at it yet. I'm not super skilled. Why did I get rollerblades? Because it made me happy. If you're looking for something that makes you happy, I always like to tell people to start with something that used to make you happy before you grew up, before you were an adult, before you had to be this responsible human being who pays, takes your kid to the doctor, remembers to go to the dentist, gets the annual mammogram. Before you had to be her, who were you then? Just try and bring some more of that levity, some more of that light, some more of that joy into the current life that you have. I'm not saying it's going to fix every problem you've got or replace the fact that, you're not raising babies anymore, but it will make you feel good. It will give you a sense of direction. It will give you a sense of purpose. It will give you ancillary ideas that go along with the hobby that you're taking up again. Just try some things. If you try something and it's a terrible idea, try something else. Let's just shake it up. Let's do some stuff. Please do not stay in your current rut, in your current monotony, and not do anything and just hope it's going to get better. It's not going to get better. The power plant doesn't have energy. The power plant makes energy. You've got to be self-generating. It's not just going to come to you. You got to try something. And if you need me, I'll be rollerblading at Santa Monica Pier. Visiting South Dakota was always one of my someday things. Like, well, someday I'm going to go see the Dakotas, and someday I'm going to walk through Badlands National Park, and someday I'm going to see Mount Rushmore in person. And then a couple summers ago, I just made someday today, and it was awesome. The kids and I had the most amazing time. We went hiking. We saw Mount Rushmore, which is like shockingly more majestic than you think it would be. We had amazing dinners. We stayed in this awesome log cabin in a national park. It was truly one of our favorite family vacations. And I loved it because it was this great blend of seeing a part of the US I'd never seen before and being outside in nature. So maybe it's time you turn someday into today. See why there's so much South Dakota and so little time. Plan your escape at travelsouthdakota.com.
Are you on the right track? What do you want to be remembered for? Is this really all there is? Asking big questions about your life can feel overwhelming. But the Hidden Brain podcast, hosted by me, Shankar Vedantam, is here to help you get started. All through the month of July, Hidden Brain will bring you our You 2.0 series with a special focus on purpose, passion, and meaning. If you're feeling adrift, alone, or burned out, this series is for you. Join us.
All right, let's see what our next caller had to ask. Ooh, this looks like drama. And we know there is nothing the Ask Rach crowd loves more than a little drama.
Hi, Rachel. I have a question about an adult friendship situation. I have a friend that I told I wanted some space and did so really respectfully and maturely, and she did not take it well. And this friend is still like in my circle of things that I do, like different clubs and classes and things like that that I participate in. And now for the past almost a year, she literally gives me the silent treatment anytime I see her and just completely ignores that I am even there. She will walk into a room when I'm there and talk to the people sitting next to me, but literally not even look at me. I feel like, I know that says more about her than me, but it's starting to bother me a little bit more, and I don't necessarily want to be friends with this person because she showed me who she is. But, it would be nice to be civil, which I had asked for at the time of wanting space, and clearly she's not willing to get that, or give that to me. So, I'm just wondering, what advice you might have, on healthy ways to deal with that, because it does start to get to you after a while. Okay, I appreciate your advice. Thanks.
So in this instance, she asked us not to use her voice. If you thought that voice sounded a little funny, it's because we changed the voice, but I wanted y'all to hear the question because I feel like there was a lot of context and nuance, which I love. We've been talking about that more and more on these episodes. I love the voicemails y'all leave and don't necessarily want them to be 19 hours long, but would love a little more context when you ask questions. But she had great context, gave us a bunch of different things that were going on. Okay, 99% of the time when you guys call in, you are my homie. You are my ride or die. My allegiance is to you, and the advice I'm going to give is always to you and what is going to be most helpful for you. And that is what I'm going to do in this instance. But I'm actually going to do it by playing devil's advocate, which is to say, nobody wants to hear that their friend doesn't want to hang out with him anymore. Nobody wants to hear that someone in their circle wants space, right? That damages our ego, probably hurts our feelings. Even if you think that this person is like the biggest jerk on the planet, the reality is it probably hurt her feelings. It damaged her ego. She also for sure didn't know how to deal with that. Most people would not know how to deal with that situation. I'm trying to think of what happens if Jack is like, Rachel, I need space from you, but we still have to interact all the time. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that, right? I would show up very awkwardly. Also, because there was a reason that you asked for space from her, it says to me that there was something about her personality that probably wasn't great to begin with. So are you really that shocked that she's 100% trying to punish you for your mistake? By not talking to you in front of everybody else, she's singling you out, right? She's letting everybody know we are not talking to Becky. The caller's name is not Becky. I'm respecting her privacy. I just made up that name. She's like, we're not talking to Becky. Also, she's letting you know that she's still butthurt about what you did. Very immature, but also like, what is she supposed to do? I'm trying to think of like, it's almost like you break up with someone. You're like, oh, I'm going to break up with you, but I still want you to think that I'm a good guy, right? Like I don't want you to think that I'm a bad person, even though I broke up with you. I think, and like, you are you are who I am here for, friend. But my instinct is that she's allowed to react to this however she wants to react. The way she is reacting is confirming for you that this was someone you did not want in your life, but you can't control her reaction. We can never control someone's reaction, right? We can only control the way we respond to things. And let me tell you right now, she knows that you're annoyed and she likes it. She knows you are annoyed and she likes it. That's why she keeps doing it. Now, I'm going to use a term that they use for narcissists. I am not saying this girl's a narcissist. I don't know anything about her. But when you are interacting with a narcissist, therapists tell you to do something called gray rock, which is act like a gray rock. Narcissists get energy from you getting upset. They like your emotions. They feed off your emotions. So when you're dealing with one, they say, just act like a gray rock. Respond in the simplest way possible. Don't give them emotion. Don't have anything big. Just like keep it, pretend you are a rock. That's what you need to do here. If she didn't think you were bothered, I promise you she wouldn't keep doing it. But you are bothered. You said, it really gets to me after a while. My instinct says that that is because she was acting in a way that was not great. You made a healthy choice to put up a boundary, very maturely say, I would like some space. That's huge. Most adults would not do that. They just avoid. You made a great choice in doing that. But now she's hurt. And she's letting everybody in your circle know that she's hurt. And every time she does it, you're the one in your own mind who's starting to seem like the bad guy, right? And you don't want to be the bad guy. You were like, wait, I did something. I was protecting my peace. I put up boundaries. These are all the things that you were supposed to do, but she's not complying. Well, of course she's not, because you can't control a grown adult. If you could have controlled her, she wouldn't have been the way she was and made you want to break up with her in the first place. So, I know it's hard to hear, but this has nothing to do with her. This has everything to do with you. There are a few ways that you can combat this. Number one, stop going to those things. If you can, stop going to those things. And most people aren't going to choose that path, because why in the world would you give up your circles and your community because there's one member of the community that you don't want to see there? So that's probably not a great option. Option number two is you get over it. Yeah, it's like, oh, that sounds so harsh. That sounds so harsh. But it's the simplest way I know of to tell you how to deal with this. You are energetically giving to her every time it bothers you that she acts this way. So if you want her to stop acting this way, you have to stop feeding her energetically. You got to be a gray rock. Before you go into a situation where you know she's going to be there, girl, hype yourself up in the car, listen to your favorite pump up music, go into the space and like, I'm going to be sunshine and light. I am going to be the thermostat, not the thermometer. I'm going to be the person who sets the mood in the room, not takes on the mood that she's bringing. Whatever she brings to the situation, I'm going to be awesome. I'm going to rise above it. If you went into every situation with that energy and that vibe, I promise you it would change the dynamics. And it would certainly change the way you feel about what's happening in those situations. Because right now, You are walking into the situation expecting her to behave the way she does, and then, oh, guess what? That's exactly how she behaves. This is the work that you have to do, and it sucks. I'm going to say this almost in every episode. We go to therapy to deal with all the people in our lives who will not go to therapy. This is one of those situations. This is the work that you have to do on yourself so that this doesn't bother you. Because as long as it bothers you, it will continue to happen. You didn't do anything wrong here. I think this happens a lot of time in like romantic relationships, breakups, divorce, where you're still in the same circles or you're interacting in the same groups. And it's like that person is hurt and they want everybody else to think that you're the bad guy because they want to project those things onto you so that people aren't looking at them. That's her journey. That is not yours to figure out. That is not yours to unpack. That is in the past. You are here in this present moment. All of your power is here in this present moment and what you decide to do with your power and your energy in this present moment. How can we make good decisions to go on from here and let her do whatever she's going to do? This is an ad by BetterHelp. I know a lot of you are like me, entrepreneurs or people who have that side hustle. You've got a dream, you've got a goal, and that can be amazing. And it can also be super stressful to balance all of those things and show up for our lives the way we want to. Most of us can't just wave goodbye to work and instantly start our wellness routine the second that we leave the office or the second that we close that laptop. But therapy can be an incredible resource to help you figure out how to transition between one and the other. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. So whatever you're going through, there is a therapist that specializes in it. My listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Rach. That's better, HELP.com/Rach.
Hey everybody, it's Rob Lowe here. If you haven't heard, I have a podcast that's called Literally with Rob Lowe. And basically it's conversations I've had that really make you feel like you're pulling up a chair at an intimate dinner between myself and people that I admire, like Aaron Sorkin or Tiffany Haddish, Demi Moore, Chris Pratt, Michael J. Fox. There are new episodes out every Thursday. So subscribe, please, and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This question is actually not a voicemail. This is a DM that I got on Instagram. Every once in a while, we'll put into the stories there, like, oh, do you guys have any questions for Ask Rach? And I think it gives people a lot more courage to maybe ask some harder questions that they wouldn't want to leave in a voicemail. So the question that I got: what is the best way to get back on track after slipping away from your goals? Oh my Lord, so many thoughts here. Okay, the first thing that comes to mind is to reignite the spark, reignite the energy, reignite the momentum for why you wanted this goal in the first place. Sometimes we let go of a goal or we fall off track with a goal, not because we don't have the willpower, not because we're not smart enough, not because we can't see it through, but because the goal is no longer aligned with who we are today. So the first question you need to ask yourself, if you feel like you've gotten off track with your goal, is the goal aligned with who I am now and where I want to go? Okay? Maybe you have to change everything. Maybe you need a full-scale remodel of the North Star goal in your life. Or maybe you just need to take the original goal and jazz it up. Maybe it needs a little makeover moment before you pursue it again. It's like, oh, you know what? I wanted to start my own business and that was the goal, but I've realized that I'm way more attuned to a service-based business than a product-based business. So same, similar goal, but it needs a little makeover, right? Once you can identify what the North Star goal is, this is where we're headed. This is what we are working toward. This is what we want for our life. The next step would be you really need, at the risk of sounding like a hippie, like you really need to raise the vibe about how you feel about that goal. The emotion that we attach to our goal is the thing that will keep you going when life gets hard. It's the thing that will keep you going when the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and you promise yourself you're going to put on your sneakers and go on a run, but it's really cold outside and you don't want to get out of bed. The emotion you attach to the goal is what will keep you going. If you do not feel positive emotion about your North Star all-in huge goal, that is why you are losing momentum. That is why you do not have the willpower to do this thing that you want to do. So before you make one more move, let's get reattached to the why. My favorite way to do that, those of you who have hung out with me for years are like, girl, I already know what you're going to say. Well, then you tell them, Sarah. Visualization. Visualization is the best hack that I know of to get yourself fired up about where you want to go. Visualization to me looks like putting on music, because I love a soundtrack, and imagining the goal play out like I am watching a movie. The first piece of advice I would give you if you want to do a visualization like this is that you've got to get the energy in your body right. Put on some music, dance around, jump up and down, like get some good feelings going. If you do a gratitude meditation before you visualize, that's really helpful. That can be as simple as just, putting your hands on your heart and thinking about 3 or 4 things you're really grateful for and really feeling those things until it fills your body. You want positive energy inside of you before you start to visualize a goal. Because remember, emotion is what keeps us going. And if you have emotions that are stale, if you're feeling fear, if you're feeling bitter, if you're feeling anxious, none of those need to be attached to this big vision that you have for your life. So get yourself in a good energetic spot, put that music on, and then imagine the goal like a movie in your mind. I say like a movie in your mind because that helps me to see it. And I know not everybody processes visuals this way. I learned this during Rise Conference. We would do these guided visualizations where the whole audience would imagine like 10 years in the future and this is where I want to be. And inevitably there would be like 5% of the audience who would raise their hand. They'd be like, I don't see anything. To you, I would say you need to use other people's visuals of the goal that you have in your mind. So Pinterest is a great place for this. Social media is a great place for this. Thinking of the goal that you want to pursue and then finding other people who are experts in that area. What does their media look like? Did they write books? Like, can you give yourself visuals of other people succeeding in the way you want to succeed to help you figure out where you're going to go? Luckily for me, I do not need a Pinterest board because I got all the ideas right up top, and I will just let my imagination run wild. I will imagine, okay, when I have this goal, what's that going to feel like? And what's it going to look like? And this might sound silly, but like, what clothes am I wearing when I'm experiencing that goal? And then I'll run through the people that I care about most. Like, what is Jackson? That's my oldest son. What's Jackson going to say when I achieve this goal? And what's Kez? That's my husband. What's Kez going to say when I achieve this goal? And what's Noah going to think? That's my daughter. She's 8 years old. How's she going to look to me? Or what questions is she going to ask? Is she going to be part of it? Will she be there with me? How will me achieving this goal change her life and her experience? Like, I will go through everything that I can think of to just give as much vibrancy to that picture as I possibly can. I want to make it as full and as rich as possible so that I've got this mental image to go back to when it gets hard. I've said this before, but if you're not feeling like an emotional charge, an emotional change by imagining something positive, I am fully all about using a negative vision if I need to. This sounds negative, but the amount of times I've got myself to take action because I will make up a scenario. This is so ridiculous, but like, you guys know I'm going to tell you the truth. Back in the day when I was trying to grow as a public speaker, a big reason for why I wanted to be a public speaker was because I didn't see a lot of women in the personal development space on stage. This space was completely dominated by men. So I would make up these imaginings of like the biggest men who dominated the space sitting in a room, having whiskey, smoking cigars, you know, like the dudes do, making fun of me as a speaker. Like, oh, this girl thinks she can do what we do. Like, it's so stupid, you guys. And obviously that didn't happen. But that would motivate me to make one more call. That would motivate me to work on my speaker's reel again. That would motivate me to post one more time on social or to talk about it in email, to build up that muscle that made me keep putting myself out there. Sometimes a beautiful visual is really helpful, and sometimes a negative visual is really helpful, even if you have to make it up in your own mind. Who do you need to prove wrong? Right? Even if you're like, I'm going to go back to 8th grade and the girls who are mean to me in middle school and, you know, Marissa was always judging me. Like, cool. Use her as an example. Like, use whatever you need to get going. But I think if you realign to that goal, right? You realign to who you want to be. You realign to where you're headed, and you get some emotion attached to the why. Some very smart person said, if you have a strong enough why, you can endure anyhow. And I would challenge you to realign with your why before you take steps to start working on this goal again. Guys, I love getting questions from you, and I'm so grateful that you call in and help make this show what it is. I will be here answering more questions if you want to call in, 737-400-4626. Until next time, I love you, and I'm rooting for you. The Rachel Hollis podcast is produced by me, Rachel Hollis. It's edited by Andrew Weller and Jack Noble.
Hey everybody, Ted Danson here to tell you about my podcast with my longtime friend and sometimes co-host Woody Harrelson. It's called Where Everybody Knows Your Name, and we're back for another season. I'm so excited to be joined this season by friends like John Mulaney, David Spade, Sarah Silverman, Ed Helms, and many more. You don't want to miss it. Listen to Where Everybody Knows Your Name with me, Ted Danson, and Woody Harrelson sometimes, wherever you get your podcasts.
At Strayer University, we help students like you go from, is it possible, to anything is possible by offering access to up to 10 no-cost gen ed courses, so you can reach your goals affordably and fast. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. No-cost gen eds provided by Strayer University affiliate Sophia. Eligibility rules apply. Connect with us for details. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.